So the texts in this set that you're reading through the American Realism tradition are related to class and labor, and specifically this idea of the Gilded Age. And I'll provide a separate contextual video about the Gilded Age from PBS that it gives a great background into that. But to give you some context for why this is such a key part of the realism tradition, I want to give you a little bit more of an introduction to that. So in 1870, and remember, realism starts about the Civil War, 1865. In 1870, the U.S. population was 38.5 million. By 1910, which is the end of the realism tradition, the population had grown to 92 million. You had an insane change during this tiny span of 30 years in terms of population and in terms of the American economy. We received millions of immigrants from all over the world. Ellis Island, people were immigrating to the West Coast as well. You have people who are coming to places like New York and Philadelphia and these urban centers because America is starting to become a leader in global industry. You also have an incredible amount of industrial and technological progress. The steam engine, the railroad, the factories and the way that goods are produced and distributed. A lot of progress in that. You have a lot of advancement in terms of medical science, and a lot of knowledge is changing really quickly at this period of time, and it's making its way to be within grasp for more people. And that has a couple of effects. So you have a select group of people who make fortunes. You have the Vanderbilts, you have the Carnegies, you have the Rockefellers, you have these families that are making extreme fortunes during this period of time. And then you have millions of people who are providing labor for those industries who are not. Because during this period of time, there were almost no labor laws, and people were exploited in a variety of different ways. Many of them were working in unsafe conditions. Many of them were paid obscenely insufficient wages. Many people were living in tenement housing. There was a lot of child labor during this period of time because there wasn't any laws against it. So you have a lot of people there's this idea of the Gilded Age. And gilded is something that's not gold, right? It is something that has a gold sheen on it. So the American idea that you can be an average person and become one of those golden ones, one of those Vanderbilts, is one side of this period of time. And then there are millions of other people that are looking around at that idea, at this idea of American excellence, of this golden Americana. They're looking around at it and going, wait a second. That's not what my life looks like. That's not what I have. That isn't happening for me or anyone that I know. And they're starting to take issue with those things. So you're reading Horatio Alger's, you're reading a piece that is representative of one of many pieces that he wrote about that idea of becoming one of the golden. Then you're reading a very short piece from Mark Twain that is a satirical response to that style of story. Remember, satire uses absurdity to point out the flaw in something, so you get both sides of the coin between those two writers. And then finally, you're reading a poem from Edward Markham called The Man with the Hoe. This gets at the issue of labor and wealth inequality in a different way, but engages with similar ideas that many people were struggling with during this period of time. Now, as you proceed to your PBS video on the Gilded Age, I encourage you to pay close attention to those issues of class and use that as context to help you access the stories that follow. Look forward to your thoughts.